Right, look at this. It looks like the swarm has arrived. So I'll zoom in onto the box. So you can see bees below the box, but look at this. It's absolutely covered in bees at the front there. Look at that. Fantastic. That is a swarm of bees and it's just arrived. Whether it will go into the box is another thing. So not only are they on the box itself, they're also flying around below the box. It's hard to see in, there they are, I can just see them in the screen there. They're all swarming around. This is an actual swarm of bees in the making as we speak. So not only are they swarming on the box, they're also swarming under the box, which is what we're looking at the moment. I'd say most of the bees are congregated here. This is an actual swarm of bees in real life. Let's see if I can zoom in a bit more. Look at that. The swarm has arrived. So the next thing we want to see is whether they actually take permanent residence in that box, because you know they might just decide that they don't like this box and they'll go elsewhere. We'll see what they decide to do. The last reading on the LORA dark star was 8:30 ppm, so that's quite a high peak as expected. So whether the bees are inside the hive or whether they're just like loitering on the outside is unknown at the moment. The bees will decide amongst themselves whether to take residence here, and it's not decided by a king or a queen. It's actually a true democracy, and I believe that they vote using pheromones. So if a large number of probably the more mature bees excrete or give off the right amount of pheromones, then that will indicate that a vote has been cast for taking residence, or maybe not. Maybe they'll choose to reject this hive by releasing a different pheromone or releasing a small amount of the same pheromone, and they just might abscond and go elsewhere. Some colonies, particularly the smaller ones, are more flighty than others. So the smaller colonies tend to be quite erratic and quite random, and they'll just evacuate the hive on a whim, almost as though the decision making is a lot quicker and more random than the larger hives. So I'm hoping that this is what we call a prime swarm, which means that it's got a large fully developed mated queen in it. So it's possible to look at it later on, maybe in a week or so, when it's got a bit more settled, if it settles, and see if there's a big fat fully developed queen there or not. It's not like massively important, but it just adds a bit of interest, value to the project. Whilst I'm watching the bees swarming around at the top catch hive up there, deciding whether they want to go into it and take permanent residence or not. So another thing of interest is that I've got two other catch hives here in the apiary, these two here. So there's one there. So this is an empty hive with like a couple of frames in it. They've chosen not to go for that one. And there's another one just here. So the doors are open, they're empty, there's some empty frames in it. There's a bit of activity on that one, but they've deliberately gone for this one up here. And so just to get a perspective, the hive that they've seemed to have chosen is significantly higher up. It's sheltered, it's in amongst branches and flowers, and year after year, certainly in the last 3 years, this has been the spot that they've chosen in preference to any other. So before I put that catch hive there, they'd just go there and congregate on a branch. So it's obviously a spot that they really enjoy, and that's why I've chosen that exact location for the main catch hive with the sensors in it. I've been watching the catch hive quite closely, and I haven't seen large swarm of bees fly away, so I'm presuming that the bees have indeed gone inside the hive. So I'm hoping to see a massive increase in carbon dioxide reading from the LORAD Dark Star gadget. It was like 830 ppm, I think, so with a full, well, a swarm inside it, I'd expect it to go into the thousands, maybe 2000 ppm, something like that. The other alternative is that they've made a secondary swarm formation somewhere in this bush. I can't see anything, it's dark in there. I can see a lot of bees swarming around underneath. There they are, look. Yes. There's a lot of bees swarming around underneath the hive. But I can't see any of the round, elongated swarm balls that they often form. I think they've just gone straight into the box. If I just look around with the camera, I might be able to spot one, but I don't think there is one there. It's very hard to see. There's a lot of foliage and flowers, so I'm thinking there's nothing there. It's just gone into the hive, which is what they're supposed to do. It's now about 30 minutes after the swarm arrived, and I've noticed no big cloud of bees zooming away from the catch hive, so I'm 99% sure that they've gone inside the box. So let's just like zoom in again. There it is. There's the catch hive up in the tree. Just whilst we're looking at this angle, we can see the antenna up there, disguised. There it is, in the top of the tree. So this transmits the data from the catch hive box to the control center, and the antenna is mounted on this big long pole here. There it is, and there's the dark star. It's great because this whole system's nice and compact. I think if there were all three solar panels all over the place, lots of wires, it could get really complicated, especially when I come to actually retrieve that swarm up the top of the ladder. So you don't really want lots of wires, panels and stuff around, because you know it's a little bit wobbly out there. So when it comes to removing the swarm, because I need to take it away again, it should be a fairly sort of quick and easy process. But yeah, we'll see. what I want to do now is go back to the control room where I'm picking up all the data and wait for the next reading, which will be fun because there's a reading sent out from this thing every 2 hours and 10 minutes, and I'm expecting the next reading to be really very interesting. At least 2000 ppm, surely. Reading of carbon dioxide has just come in from the solar dark star gadget, and it is quite high. It's 1159, and we can see it on the graph here, that purple line there. So I'm very sure now that we've actually caught this swarm in that catch hive. So yeah, over 99% sure. But it could still fly away. It could just like decide it doesn't like it, and I'll open it tomorrow and no bees. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we've caught it, and yeah, during the course of the rest of the day and the night, I anticipate that reading to stay quite high. If it doesn't, then I'll make a report. But other than that, yeah, we've caught a swarm.